everyone, especially pet owners. This is Jeffrey Smith, founder of the Institute for Responsible Technology. I'm going to talk about how to read labels on pet foods to help you avoid products that have GMOs and Roundup and other toxic pesticides sprayed on them. So the first thing you could do is go over to the sign-in page and sign in to get the report. That's on the homepage here. You get the report and you'll have a list of the products that are organic or non-GMO project verified or the equivalent. And you'll have a list of also the products that we've tested and others have tested for glyphosate levels, for the residues from Roundup. And also there's a cheat sheet telling you what I'm about to tell you about how to read labels. So do that first. And now let's talk about once you go to a pet food store or to a regular store and you pick up pet food, what do you look for? I'd say the number one recommendation that's the easiest is to buy products that say organic. Organic does not allow the use of GMOs intentionally or the use of Roundup and other synthetic toxins. Now, there's 4 ways that organics can appear on a label. It can say 100% organic, which means every ingredient is certified organic. It could simply say organic, it'll have the USDA seal, and that means that at least 95% of the products are organic, but the other 5% are not allowed to intentionally contain GMOs. The third way is it might say made with organic soy or made with organic meat or made with organic ingredients. Now, that means that at least 70% of the products are organic and the other 30% have to at least be non-GMO. Now, if you don't see organic on the front of the label and you only actually find it on the ingredients listing, and it may say organic soybeans or organic this, then you know that that particular ingredient is organic, but it doesn't tell you if the other products on the page in the list are GMO or not. So just to be sure, if it says organic on the front, then it means that it's either 100%, 95%, or 70% organic, and the other part has to be non-GMO. But those products that are not organic may be also sprayed. So now we have a situation where you've looked at something and it might be organic, and that tells you one thing. But there's also products that are non-GMO project verified. Non-GMO project verified, that little butterfly, means that it doesn't have GMOs, or if it does, it's a very small amount. And it doesn't tell you if the product has been sprayed with Roundup or other toxic pesticides or herbicides, because that's not what non-GMO project tests for. They'll actually test and verify for GMO contamination. So we recommend that the number 1 recommendation is organic. The number 2 is non-GMO project verified. Now, some products you'll see both organic and non-GMO project verified on the same thing. Now, if the non-GMO project is for GMOs and organic already doesn't allow GMOs, why would you add the non-GMO project label onto an organic product? Isn't it redundant? Almost. Here's the situation. In organic foods, the standards were created before GMOs were introduced. And it's not a testing-based certification. So even though it doesn't allow the intentional use of GMOs, contamination can happen. But it doesn't require testing to see if contamination did happen. The non-GMO project verification, however, does require testing if there are at-risk ingredients like soy or corn in the formulation. So if you have both, it means you have all the benefits of being organic, plus if there are at-risk ingredients, then the testing has occurred somewhere in the process. Even then, you can't be 100% sure that there's zero contamination. The non-GMO project has a 0.9% threshold, et cetera. It's just the nature of nature to have potentially low levels of contamination. But we do recommend that organic and non-GMO project verified, that would be, let's say, the gold standard. And then if you don't have that, then organic. Now, in addition to the organic, you may have grass-fed. Now, it's interesting, when you look at the label, you'll have oftentimes the protein or the animal product, and you'll have the other products, the vegetables and the grains. If you're talking about the protein, if it's from cow or pig or sheep or fish, what are they feeding the animals? With organic products, you're not allowed to feed the animals GMOs. And so now you have non-GMO feed, and organic feed being fed to these animals. And so that'll make for a healthier animal, according to what we have read and understood. And that would be our recommendation, our strong recommendation. If an organization says we're non-GMO and they're just talking about their grains, but they're not talking about what they're feeding their animals, then we don't consider that truly non-GMO. And non-GMO project verification also requires the feed to be non-GMO. But let's say you have something that's beef and it's grass-fed. Now, here's an interesting situation. It gets a little tricky. Grass is usually not GMO, but sometimes it is because of alfalfa. So the question is, are they using alfalfa that's genetically engineered in their grass-fed? But it's a little more complicated than that, because sometimes you do grass-fed and grain-finished, and that grain is usually GMO. So what you want to look for is 100% grass-fed. And then you want to ask, do you have alfalfa, GMO alfalfa growing in that grass? Sometimes you even have to call them, because we want to make it popular for grass-fed companies to say no GMO alfalfa. So help us ask them that question a lot often so that they actually put it on their label. So now that you've got a little bit of an understanding, let's make it so much easier by looking at two examples. We'll start with a conventional product. It's going to be Pedigree. I have this 20-pound bag. It's adult complete nutrition for dogs. Here it is. All right, I'm going to read you some ingredients. Now, with these, the first ingredient has the most of it, and the second ingredient has the next most. So that's how most people know that we read ingredients. The first ingredient is ground whole grain corn. Corn is genetically engineered. You have soy, corn, cotton, canola, sugar beets, alfalfa. Those are the 6 main GMOs. And you have some zucchini and yellow squash, papaya from Hawaii, and a small amount of potatoes and apples. And in Canada, they're selling genetically modified salmon. But the 6 major ones to look for are in the pet food are soy, corn, cotton, canola, sugar beets, and alfalfa. It would be cotton meal, for example, or sugar beet pulp. So look at this, and the first one is whole grain corn. Now, how do we know if that corn is GMO or not? In the United States and Canada, if it doesn't say non-GMO or organic, you can assume that the corn is genetically engineered if it's a mix of a lot of corn. Corn on the cob may be different. Popcorn is not GMO, by the way, but we're talking pet food, so let's come back to this. So that means that the number one ingredient in this bag is GMO. The second one, meat and bone meal. Doesn't tell you which type of meat, which is interesting, but it doesn't tell you that it's non-GMO project verified or organic, so that meat and the animals that eat those bones have been fed GMOs. And most of the GMOs are sprayed with Roundup. So now you have the GMOs and the Roundup in this bag so far. The next is corn gluten meal, again, a corn product. The next is animal fat, again, an animal product. The next is soybean meal, another GMO. Now, to be clear, over 90% of the soy and corn in the United States is genetically engineered. So we're talking about a lot of GMOs, and the vast majority of the corn is Roundup ready, and virtually all the soy is Roundup ready. So it means a lot of Roundup on here. After that, you have natural flavor, whatever that is. And then you have chicken byproduct meal. Chickens are fed GMOs too. And then we have dried plain beet pulp. Well, beets, nearly 100% in the United States, are genetically engineered Roundup ready, sprayed with Roundup. And the beet pulp can carry that Roundup into the product. So then we have ground whole grain wheat. Now, wheat in the United States can be sprayed with Roundup just before harvest. So virtually every one of these, and the next one is salt. So we're now at much lower levels, and then there's a bunch of vitamins. So in this product, which is Pedigree, you have almost every one of the major products, well, every one so far, is an at-risk ingredient. It's either a GMO or an animal product from animals that are fed GMOs. And so this is something that we would say is not on our recommended list. Moreover, when you click over on the page to the report, you can find this product on there and see the results of our testing for glyphosate to see if it has glyphosate residues. Now, you already know that it contains corn and soy and corn gluten meal from products that are sprayed with Roundup, so we're probably guessing that the amount of glyphosate is pretty high. Now let's take this by contrast. This is Darwin's natural selections. Now here, the first ingredient is beef, beef heart, beef liver, and then it goes into organic lambs, organic lettuce, organic squash, organic cabbage, organic zucchini, beef kidney, organic parsley, and then it has calcium phosphate and a bunch of vitamins. So the non-beef products are organic, non-GMO, not sprayed with Roundup. But what about the beef? On here, nowhere does it tell you that it is organic or non-GMO. It says hormone, antibiotic, and grain-free. But it doesn't tell you that it's organic. However, in this case, we called them. And they told us that it was 100% grass-fed. We would like to see it on the package, but it's not on the package, so we called them. And so they're on our list of products that are non-GMO and not at risk. But we asked one further question. So what about the grass? Does the grass of the grass-fed beef contain alfalfa that may be GMO? And they said no. So you can get that information from the company. Sometimes they'll put it on their website and not on their package. And sometimes you have to just do it by phone call. So we're hoping that more and more these companies will put it on their package, but we've done some of that research for you. And we've done a lot more research. So again, click over, get the report. And what we're doing is we're adding more and more information to that report. So if you come back next week or next month, there may be more products on there that have been tested for glyphosate residues, more products that we've discovered that we can put in the recommended categories or the categories that we know are free of GMOs or likely free of GMOs and Roundup. I say likely because we can't guarantee 100%, even for products that are, again, organic and non-GMO project verified because of potential contamination. So we're doing the best we can to provide you with information so that you can make healthier choices. And you may want to consult a nutrition expert to figure out, well, do you want to feed grain-free or which meat product or et cetera? We're not going to go there because that's not our expertise. You can find those experts, but our expertise is on the dangers of GMOs and Roundup and how to avoid them. So I hope this gives you a good start. And if you find a product that you think is safe and it's not on our list, please share that with us so we can ask the tough questions and make sure that they get represented on the list. Because what we want to do here is we want to drive millions, tens of millions of pet owners to organic, non-GMO, healthy choices so that the entire pet food industry shifts in order to maintain their market share. They're going to have to. And that's what's happening in the human food arena with GMOs, where so many companies are switching to non-GMO because humans have made that choice for themselves. Now we want humans to make that choice for the pets. Safe eating.